Austin is, our oldest son, our firstborn. He's a big man. He has big passions. He is committed to things, and when he gets committed, he takes action. So one of the things that troubled him about the Syrian conflict was the lack of credible, verifiable information about what was going on there. And Austin had spent some time in the region, had an affinity for the people there, and he decided that, he had the abilities and the skills to go to Syria, to see what was happening and communicate that to people in the U.S. and the Western world so that we would know what's happening.
So he freelanced for various papers.
He freelanced for various
networks.
papers. He did a lot of work for the McClatchy News Organization, which has been incredibly supportive of us and Austin since he's gone missing. As he moved south in the country, he was able to deliver information and reports to a number of different organizations.
And Debra Tice, what's it been like since his disappearance? First, when you got the news that he had disappeared, and what you've been able to get from the U.S. government in terms of his whereabouts and his situation?
Well, as far as his whereabouts, the government doesn't feel free to share that information with us. When he went missing, every day we thought, he'll be back tomorrow, next week. So going on 2.5 years, we've still had that kind of expectation, so our lives have pretty much been suspended in that tomorrow kind of living, where the main thing that Marc and I do is whatever we can think of to try to get Austin home.
Who do you believe is holding him?
We know who is not holding him. We know that he's not being held by ISIS or the terrorists of any kind. The Syrian government denies holding him, so that leaves us wondering who is holding him.
What does the U.S. government tell you, Marc?
Well, the U.S. government doesn't have, as far as we know, definitive information about exactly who's holding him or where he is. We do believe that there is information that they have been unable to share with us, just because of security reasons and national security clearances and so forth.
Do you think the Syrian government's holding him?
This is what we do believe. Our son's missing in Syria, and it's more than natural that we would appeal to the Syrian government, who is the sovereign entity over the state of Syria, to find him. They have the best resources. They have access to their own country. So we've appealed to them in many ways, many times, to help us find Austin and bring him safely home.
I want to turn to Austin Tice in his own words, explaining why he made the decision to go to Syria. In a Facebook post on July 25th, 2012, Austin wrote, quote, "We kill ourselves every day with McDonald's and alcohol and 1,000 other drugs, but we've lost the sense that there actually are things out there worth dying for. We've given away our freedoms piecemeal to robber barons, but we're too complacent to do much but criticize those few who try to point out the obvious." He goes on to say, quote, "So that's why I came here to Syria. And if it's why I like being here now, right in the middle of a brutal and still uncertain civil war. Every person in this country fighting for their freedom wakes up every day and goes to sleep every night with the knowledge that death could visit them at any moment. They accept that reality as the price of freedom." That's your son in his own words. Yes. Do you feel that our government is doing enough to locate him and get him out?
We feel like there's always more that could be done. And, you mentioned Amy, Reporters Without Borders, in the intro. They've been helping us tremendously throughout this whole process, and now are helping us raise awareness of Austin's situation?
I've been working with the Tice since September 2012, trying to help them as much as possible, because it's Reporters Without Borders work to do so, to help the families of kidnapped journalists. So we have helped them to get in touch with former hostages, try to help them to get some contact with Arab-speaking media. And when they asked Reporters Without Borders to help them to raise awareness about Austin case in the U.S., of course we say, okay, of course we're in. And then we convinced the ad agency in New York to prepare a campaign that we will launch very, very soon in the next week. And right now we are calling for major media all around the U.S. to join this campaign, to be partners of the campaign, and to accept to publish on their website for free banners, Free Austin Tice. We have been working on the ideas of the blindfold. When a journalist is missing, when Austin Tice is missing, in a sense we are all blindfolded because we are deprived of information. So that's really the main mission now, and because public awareness, public pressure will make a difference to help us to bring Austin back home. We know that it's not a ransom issue, it's really a political issue, and that's why public pressure will help in that case.
And but Delphine, in previous kidnapping cases, the government has attempted to dissuade families from going public and sought to use back channels, basically, to find a way to free kidnapped foreigners in the Middle East. Have you got any pushback from the government on this campaign?
So we have seen the tragic results of many hostage cases recently, and I don't want to bring back this barbarity again. And I guess their administration realized that their policy was not exactly successful, and that's why the White House launched this policy review to try to see how they can better secure the release of their hostage. And we are, of course, with the families like Debra, Marc, but also Diane Foley, and other families of American hostage or former hostage, pushing for a better cooperation between the administration and the family, a better share of information, and also to try to review this policy of no negotiation. There's a difference between refusing paying a ransom and only considering a military option. And we are so welcoming this review, which was so much needed because a lot needs to be improved.